Welcome to Good News Sunday. Rich, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here because this is an opportunity for us to share with you at least a couple of our missionaries who have long been supported by us, but you don't get to hear from them very often. And today you're going to get to hear their stories.
That's right. In fact, you're going to get to hear from our missionaries, our global servants around the world, and hear their stories of how God is moving and working. And if you ask me, Rich, that's some good news, isn't it?
It is good news because what they're accomplishing is amazing.
Yes, it is. And so here's the deal. As we go forward on this Sunday, you're going to have an opportunity to hear directly from some of our global servants from even location where they're at in serving about what God is doing. And so we don't want to delay that good news for you today. So Rich, would you introduce our first global partner?
You bet. Our first global partner that we're going to share with you is a woman named Barb Bullock. She and her husband have been global servants in Chile for nearly 20 years. We have supported them for most of that time. When they went down there, they were dealing with the Mapuche people who are the poorest of the poor. And what they realized was that children were raised, particularly girls, were raised to think that their life was not worth anything, that they were basically servants, that they were basically lower class. And Barb developed a program of girls' clubs that went into the churches, went into the schools, and developed girls' clubs where they were taught their own self-worth, that Jesus loved them, that they were important. They are now back here in the United States, developing that program further so that it can be disseminated and train people throughout Latin America, our missionaries, our global servants throughout Latin America, to start girls' clubs wherever they are serving, doing the same thing, teaching young girls that they are worth something and that Jesus loves them. So let's hear the story that Barb has to tell us about girls' clubs.
That's right. We're excited for you to hear this good news from Barb direct. Take a listen.
I'm so happy to be here to share with you one of the stories of our ministry in Chile that has really been life-changing for me. You know, last year I was visiting Chile to visit some of our women, some of our girls' clubs that have been going for the last couple of years. And one group of women invited me to come share with them for a full day. I really didn't even know what to expect. When I arrived at the church, I found out that these women were wanting to give me a report with pictures and stories of everything that God had been doing through the girls' club in their communities. One of the stories that stood out for me was the story of Clara, a little 9-year-old girl who had become a Christian through our girls' clubs. But Clara had a long story to tell. Clara was showing up at the girls' club regularly for a while, but one day the leader of the club noticed that she was very upset when she came and she didn't want to go home. When she asked her what was wrong, why she didn't want to go home, Clara told her that her mother had told her that if she continued to visit the girls' club, she was going to be punished. She was going to be beaten every day when she got home. So the leader of the girls' club was quite concerned and went to visit with her with the pastor and his wife to talk to the mother and see if they could get permission for Clara to attend. The mother gave Clara permission to attend the club, but the next week Clara showed up at the club and she had obviously been beaten. She was crying. She was very upset. And she said that my mother told me I could come, but every time I come to the club, I'm going to have to be beaten before I come if I want permission to come. That's how I have to pay the price to come to the club. So the leader of the club and the pastor's wife went back to visit with Clara and her mother and prayed over the home and prayed for Clara's mother. And it turns out that Clara's mother was actually practicing witchcraft. She was what we call a dark machi in the neighborhood. And she had the entire neighborhood intimidated and under her power for many years. In fact, this church's attempts to launch a children's ministry had been muted by Clara's efforts. But when Clara's mother decided to give her permission to attend the girls' club, through the changes that her mother saw in Clara, she came to know the love of Jesus Christ. And then Clara and her mother joined the church. And then Clara and her mother helped the church launch the children's ministry that is still thriving today, that has more than 30 kids in attendance. And Clara and her mother love Jesus. And that's why we're here, and that's what we're doing. And I want to thank you for being a part of the ministry. Thank you for changing Clara's life through your support of God's work and God's mission. And know that we love you, we're thankful for you, and we know that God is with us all and sees us all. Merry Christmas.
Wasn't that a great story? And what's even greater about it is it's going to get spread to many other countries in Latin America. And other children, other girls are going to learn what it means to be a child of God.
That is incredible, Rich. In fact, we don't just stop there, right? We have more good news to share with you all today. Rich, who's our next global servant we get to hear from?
Our next global servants are Jeff and Annie Dieselberg. They're in Bangkok, Thailand. They work in the red light district of Bangkok. Bangkok is known as the sex capital of the world. Women are trafficked from countries all over the world. And they reach out to these women. They offer them alternatives. They arrange for them, if that's what they prefer, to go back to their own home. Many, many times, most of the time, they were sucked into this believing they were getting into something that would allow them to earn money for their families at home, and then they found out too late what they were getting into. Jeff and Annie Dieselberg are doing incredible work, and they also have an amazing story.
We're excited to hear from the Dieselbergs, so listen to this good news.
Thailand responded quickly to the coronavirus. We had already started using masks because of unhealthy pollution, so when the virus hit, donning masks was not a huge controversy nor considered a violation of our personal rights. Mid-March, we found out that all the bars and non-essential businesses would be closed until the virus was contained. Shutting down all the bars sounds like an answer to prayer, but at the same time, it left an already very vulnerable population in desperation. We did not want to abandon the women, many homeless, who were still desperately seeking ways of earning money to eat. Working within curfew hours, we began preparing 25 bags of food for those who came to the beauty salon. By May, we were preparing over 500 bags of food each week. Word spread quickly, and long lines would form outside our door waiting for food. We were no longer just feeding women in prostitution. We were feeding our neighborhood, the vendors who lacked business, the motorcycle taxis, even stranded tourists who were running out of money. One day as we were setting up, one of the staff overheard the motorcycle drivers across the street declare, "God is coming down." With the thousands of tourists off the street and the bars closed, we became visible and familiar to our neighborhood and God through us, and they became more visible to us. God blessed us abundantly through that time. Offers of assistance began to pour in. Thank you to all of you who gave. We took a small step of faith with 25 bags, and God multiplied the provision. By the end of June, we had given out over 4,500 packs of food and 7 hygiene packs. Each of those packs included a tract. The good news was distributed throughout the neighborhood. As a result, 10 women have applied to work at Nightlight, and more are asking. We have accepted 5, and the others are on a waiting list because we need to increase our capacity to receive them. We have entered a new era. It is turbulent. This is not a sunset cruise to the promised land. We are going to continue to face fierce storms, but we do not face them alone, nor do we need to face them in fear. While it is one of the most turbulent times I have seen in my lifetime, it is also a time of great opportunity. The harvest is ripe. It is time to increase capacity to bring in the harvest. This is a time for all of us, regardless of age, energy level, or financial situation, to receive new vision, to see more clearly what God is doing. In this time of global shaking, we are all called to turn our eyes on Jesus and watch in amazement as God acts in and through us. With our eyes focused on Jesus, we discover the power we have through Him. With our eyes fixed on Jesus, we see the world through His eyes and are compelled by His heart and vision to declare His goodness to a desperate world. The world's situation will not change overnight, but the world's megaphone of doom will no longer drown out the voice of God, which brings hope and calms the storm.
Wow, Rich, that was incredibly good news. And I am so thankful for all the work that the Dieselbergs do.
And it continues to be good work. They have done that for many, many years, and they continue to do it. Lives are changed every day because of their dedication and perseverance. It's not easy sometimes for those women to make that jump. And Crossroads, because of your generosity, we are able to support them in a way that allows them to continue to do that work. Thank you for that generosity.
Absolutely, Crossroads. Without you, this wouldn't go as far as it does. And so you're in partnership with these global servants, seeing amazing things happen. This partnership is incredible. And speaking of partnerships, Rich, I wanted to share with you some exciting news for 2021.
We've got a new one coming.
Yes, we do. We've got a new partnership opportunity with Compassion International. Hear this good news from Compassion.
Dear sponsor, I feel really happy to write you. Have you ever been to a park? There are bars called monkey bars, but you can go on them even if you are not a monkey. I am sometimes mischievous. Do you believe in mermaids?
My mother just had twin babies. They are very noisy, so I have to plug both of my ears with my fingers so I can sleep. When will it end?
Thank you for the pictures of Japanese food. You don't look like tapeworms. You shouldn't eat tapeworms.
Please pray for my mother to have more strength and energy so she can sail her stinking fish.
I pray for you and your family. I love you as a fish loves water.
You are beautiful like a flower.
I love you. I say goodbye with a strong hug of a bear.
Love, your sponsor child.
Well, that is good news about Compassion
That
and
is
the
great
opportunity that we have to look forward to how that's going to roll out.
Yeah, hey, imagine this. Imagine with me.
Okay.
Dream with me. What would it look like in 2021 if Crossroads Church partnered with Compassion? We found a developing country, maybe
With a church in a rural area?
yeah, church in a rural with extreme poverty,
Yes.
and we had an opportunity to partner with the church there and support children.
And ask you to help with that support by sponsoring a child.
Yeah, that's right. And what if that support brought clean water,
Medical care.
schooling?
A church that'll teach these children about the love of God.
Yeah. Wow. I think it would make an incredible difference. And what would it look like, Rich, if my children were supporting one of those children and they saw the value of, wow, they're learning and they're growing in God and they have opportunity for clean water and I'm participating in that together as a family. That would be amazing.
It lets our children see that there's a bigger world out there with needs.
Absolutely. And that's not all that's happening in 2021, what we're really excited about and good news. The second thing is this. Rich, you want to tell them about this Zoom opportunity we're going to have?
Yes, we have 12 global servants around the world, and those global servants are going to be brought to you one each month for the next 12 months, telling their story. It'll be on Zoom. You'll get a link in advance. You can sign on.
Yeah.
You can listen to their story. More importantly, you're going to be able to ask questions
love
of
that.
them,
Yes.
of what you want to know about what they're doing. It'll be available to you to see our global servants firsthand.
That's right. And if you don't have an opportunity to be live at that time, the great news is we're going to archive those and you can go back and hear about the good news that's happening all over the globe. We are so excited about 2021 and your opportunity to partner with the missions here at Crossroads Church. Rich, I would say today has been filled with good news, don't you?
It has been filled with good news, and it will continue to be good news if you continue to participate and join with us.
Yes, thank you for your Crossroads, for your generosity, and for your love of what God's doing around the world. We're grateful for you, and we celebrate with you today.
فوق جبال الما بتهتز، عالي انت فوق العالي، كل المجد وكل العز بيلبق لك رب العالي. فتى شامخ مثل الأرز، بهاءك عم بيلالي. فتى شامخ والكون فيك بيعتز وبيسجد لك يا غالي. فوق جبال الما بتهتز، وعلي انت فوق العالي، كل المجد وكل العز بيلبق لك رب العالي. كلمة منك لما تقول، شق السما الأرض تزول، قدامك كل الجبال تنحيني وتصير سهول. وبأمرك على الأمواج، وبأمرك على الأمواج، وبأمرك على الأمواج، بخضعلك بهدى على طول. وبأمرك على الأمواج، بخضعلك بهدى على طول. فوق جبال الما بتهتز، وعلي انت فوق العالي، كل المجد وكل العز بيلبق لك رب العالي. جاي اليوم ومش بعيد، نلمح وجهك عالأكيد، نتلاقى عسحاب المجد لما بوقك يرعد رعد. جاي اليوم ومش بعيد، نلمح وجهك عالأكيد، نتلاقى عسحاب المجد لما بوقك يرعد رعد. من زوايا كل الأرض، من زوايا كل الأرض، من زوايا كل الأرض، نتلاقى بالعالي العالي. من زوايا كل الأرض، نتلاقى بالعالي العالي. فوق جبال الما بتهتز، وعلي انت فوق العالي، كل المجد وكل العز بيلبق لك رب العالي. فوق جبال الما بتهتز، عالي انت فوق العالي، كل المجد وكل العز بيلبق لك رب العالي، بيلبق لك رب العالي.
Friends, I want to thank you for joining us today at Crossroads Live. You know, today we heard about this mission of God and the way Crossroads is participating with partners all around the world. But at the core of that, we want to serve you to ultimately connect to Jesus. And we made that super easy. On your screen, there's a phone number. And if you'll pull out a smartphone, you can text a keyword in order to begin a conversation with us. The first one is new. If you're new to Crossroads or maybe something piqued your interest today, text the word new and we'll begin that conversation. Maybe you've been around for a while and you're ready to take the next step. And you can text the keyword next to begin that conversation. Or maybe you just want to know more about this Jesus. We just celebrated him at Christmas and we're talking about bringing his name to the world. Text the keyword Jesus to find out why he's such a big deal to us and why we think your life would be so much greater if you knew him. And friends, if you consider Crossroads Church your home church, we would love for you to continue to be a financial partner with us. You can do that on our website or the Crossroads app by just clicking the big blue button that says Giving Online. Or you can mail a church to the North Glen venue at your convenience. And finally, I just like to encourage you to live this mission out with joy wherever you are. So let me just speak a blessing over you as we close our time together. May the Lord bless you, and may he keep you, and may he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may his countenance, the smile of God, may that rest on you, and may that give you peace today and as we roll into 2021 together. We love you. See you soon.